two-part question about Goldman Sachs now shorting the dollar. What do
Yeah.
you think about that? About how do you think the landscape will look after the election and leading up to the election and after? And what is your take on USA Watchdogs perspective, because they believe that Trump is actually uh, trying to save America? Those three, and I know you have something to say about all three of them, so please
I
answer.
do. Well, we'll start off with USA Watchdog. Greg Hunter is delusional. We do not talk anymore. And that the reason is he's lost. I really have to, I hate to say it, 'cause I was very close to the man. I was at one particular time. I even reached out to him several times to try to patch it up, but the man is
Oh,
he's gone off the deep end in a big way, unfortunately. But that's just that. So Greg can have his theory out there. It's been proven to be 100% wrong. I mean, everyone with just one functioning brain cell can see that that's true. With regard to the dollar, in my view, it's a dying asset. I've been saying that for the longest time. It doesn't surprise me at all that a Wall Street bank is shorting the dollar here. There are many ways to be short the dollar. You could be long gold. You don't have to be, for example, betting. Buying puts against the dollar. You could be holding gold. If you're holding gold, if you're holding silver, if you're holding platinum, palladium, or cryptocurrency, in my view, you are taking up a position against the dollar, which is a unit of debt. That's all it is. It's not a unit of wealth, it's a unit of debt. Not only is it a unit of debt, you don't even own them. The dollars that we have are owned by the Federal Reserve, and they're owed back to the Federal Reserve plus interest that they print out of thin air. I think it's pretty much common knowledge that we are, in fact, going to a completely digital dollar. There only exists 1.9 trillion actual printed dollars on Earth. The rest of it doesn't exist. It's not on the elemental chart. You can verify this just by going to the Federal Reserve's own website. How much currency is in circulation? It's about 1.9 trillion. So all the rest of it it's just not there. So yeah, I think I've been trying to explain to people that they need to be their own central bank, bet against the debt forever, and that means holding a hard asset. So I've been net short the dollar for a very, very long time. It's about time that a major Wall Street bank is saying, hey, people should be short the dollar. Well, again, think of it this way. If you're holding metals, you're short the dollar. You're betting against the debt. It's going to implode. They're going to expand it on an unprecedented scale. Let's talk about that real quick, going back to some of those questions that you asked me months ago. I said on my show, a lot of people got triggered. I said, the market is pricing in a Biden win, and it's going to continue higher. You probably heard me say that. And that's exactly what has happened. Now you got the Wall Street banks sounding just like Greg Mannarino. You see, because when people are in this game, and that's all this is this game of trading of Wall Street's a game, you see the same things. It takes some people a little bit longer. Honestly, the Wall Street banks are behind the curve. They got a hell of a lot of more money than I do, or than most people do on the planet. But anyway, that's what's been going on. The market is clearly pricing in a Biden win. And, this is a double-edged sword here in many ways. The fact of the matter is, and I've been explaining to people, why do I believe that this market is going to go much higher if Biden were to win? It's going higher either way, because the Fed is not done. The merger between the corporations and this new American government, that's not complete yet. The ballooning of the stock market, that's not done yet. The debts and deficits that are exploding, they're not done with that yet. They're going to create a critical mass at one point and then put forth a massive, and this is going to be the Federal Reserve, a massive issue that's going to affect probably every human being on this planet, and then they're going to offer a solution to it. That's how it always plays out, problem, solution, reaction, that kind of thing. But I believe no matter how we want to look at this, we're going to see much, much, much more debt moving forward. Debt is the only thing keeping the stock market propped up. That's it. There's nothing else. It doesn't matter what's happening to the American people. The middle class is dying. Look, everyone, no one can deny that right now. But meanwhile, the stock market keeps going up. Now, I think Biden will have a new paradigm of debt. We're going to see more debt be borrowed into existence than under Obama. and Trump combined if Biden pulls off a win here. We're going to see something similar if Trump wins as well, but not to the same degree because of the philosophy of the Democrats and the Republicans. But I think what we potentially could see here is more of that cash, instead of going into corporate hands, it will make its way into the average person's hands underneath a Biden presidency. Either way, it's just more debt. Either way, it's allowing the Federal Reserve to go up that pyramid. That's their end game since 1913, to do what they're doing now, be the lender and buyer of last resort. That's how I see it playing out. At this point, at least, it does look like Biden is going to win here. I guess this can change over the next few weeks. How am I going to play it? Well, like I said in one of my recent videos, no matter who wins here, and I frankly don't care anymore. I've lost the ability to. I don't care who wins. It doesn't matter to me anymore. It doesn't. I feel like our country is lost, and we would need a real hero to turn this around. Someone with the guts to say enough is enough. Someone who had the guts to say, to stop the Federal Reserve from doing what they're doing. So they want to finish their plan to own it all. And how they're doing that is, again, just buying everything with dollars they create out of thin air. And that the debt-based economic model is a curse upon mankind. We don't need a central bank. We don't need the Federal Reserve. The people, when our forefathers put this whole thing together, they did not envision a central bank. They believed that the people had the power to govern themselves in every way, meaning they didn't need a central bank. Okay, but this has all gone awry, completely off the rails, and now we have this, whatever it is, and it's merging into a oligarchy of some twisted fascist thing here. We've gone way beyond socialism. I mean, do we have a capitalistic market when we have the Federal Reserve buying the debt of Dow components? We have President Trump bailing out airlines here. We have, it's insane. This is not capitalism here. If we had a real free market, for which we don't, things would be much, much different. But the fact is, they don't want a free market. The Fed is controlling everything. The Fed controls everything because they control our mode of transaction. So they're running the entire show. Our politicians are puppets, all of them. So like I was going back to what I said, we need a hero. Do I think Biden is going to be that hero? I doubt it. I really do. I would love to be proven wrong here, but we need someone that's going to level with the American people. If President Trump had the guts to explain to people, we got problems. We got humongous problems. And this is what we need to fix them. He's not smart enough to do it. There's no doubt about it. The man is not very smart, in my opinion. He didn't even write The Art of the Deal. I think you know that. This was ghost-ridden. If he had read The Art of War, he would be able to take this entire situation and flip it around, but he's not smart enough to do that. The man is not smart. I don't care what people say. I don't even think he's a billionaire. He owes, what, $400 million? How could you be a billionaire if you owe $400 million? It doesn't make sense to me.
And has gone bankrupt multiple times.
Has gone bankrupt multiple times. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. But this is look, the reason why Trump won last time was by default. Hillary Clinton was a liar, and I think America realized that. President Trump has become a liar to the same degree, and they're sick of it. That's why Biden is moving up like this in the polls. My take on Biden, look, it's going to be another default thing too, but Biden doesn't seem as much, they all lie, but Trump, he takes the cake, man. There's nothing like it. I don't think he's able to utter a single truth other than we're in a super V recovery. Really? We're adding jobs. Really? We're all rich. Really? No, I don't think so. But people are sick of it. And that's why I think he's going to lose.
I can see what you're talking about with Trump. Why do you think that he'll utter one thing and within 30 minutes he's backtracking on what he just said and he's condemning what he just said and he's doing the opposite of what he said he wouldn't do?
I've often wondered that myself. I mean, a good example of what you're saying here is when, he had the right idea. Let's talk about this stimulus deal, okay? When the president said, that's it, no more stimulus deal talks, I knew, and the market dropped. I said, nonsense. He's going to reverse. I said 72 hours. I went in and I bought that drop in the stock market because I knew the man would flip-flop. 24 hours later, oh, no. I was just kidding. No, that's not what he said. But he did reverse himself completely. He completely caved. He had Pelosi by the throat. Pelosi was probably like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? But then he caved because he saw the market fall. All this man cares about is using the stock market as a distraction. That's why he flip-flops a lot. He'll say something. He'll look at the reaction in the market, not thinking that maybe the market will react negatively to what he says, and then he flip-flops. Oh, no. I didn't really say that. I mean, we're going to make America great again, duh. And then the stock market goes back up. To him, and he said this before, he said this, if the stock market is going up, it means we're creating jobs. Has nothing to do with that at all. I mean, this shows you the man has no idea of how an economy works. Either he's lying, he thinks people are going to buy that, and I think he does. I think the president believes that if people see a stock market moving up, they think our economy is booming. This economy has never boomed under President Trump. Never. Even when he was pushing the last lie. All you need to look at is one thing. You probably know what it is if you watch my work. The money velocity, the rate at which cash moves to the economy. We've been at historic lows. Look, the 2008 moment was when this whole thing died. It really did. It's been on life support. Throughout Obama's presidency and throughout this guy's presidency, life support. And what are they doing? Adding more debt, piling it on. There's going to be a moment of implosion here. Going back to what Joe Salente is trying to warn people of, and I've been warning about this for the longest time here. There's going to be a meltdown in the debt market that people are not going to believe. And when that occurs, you're going to see a lot of cash leave the debt market very rapidly. That's going to cause rates to spike very rapidly. That's going to put an enormous amount of pressure on the stock market. Everyone's going to run to the door at the same time. But the cash, what we all need to know here, is not going to go to money heaven. It's going to go into other assets. It's going to go into hard assets, in my view. We're going to see commodities skyrocket. We're going to see the cost of living skyrocket as the dollar plunges in value. That's why Goldman Sachs is bidding against the dollar. The dollar is a unit of debt. Most people don't understand that the dollar is a tradable asset, that its value actually fluctuates. Most people have no idea. Yeah, look at that. It's totally true. Anyway, look, I think, at least I would hope, that some people are waking up to the charade that we're seeing here. Again, I've kind of lost a lot of hope because but at the same time, I've heard from a lot of people. I mean, look, my channel's pretty big, but there's not enough people. There's not enough of us who have an understanding of this to change the trajectory of the way things are. People just sit there now. They're like sheep. They've been dumbed down to the point where they can't walk and chew gum at the same time. And that's all by design too. They're struggling to get by. This is why, again, the Congress can't get anything done. Do we think this is really by accident? No. They want to hang that carrot in front of your face. They want to create more anxiety, more stress, so you can't think. All you want to do is grasp at straws, trying to figure out how you're going to survive, not paying attention to what's going on. It's always the same story. Isn't
the Fed buying its own debt or the U.S. debt tantamount to the drug dealer buying and smoking his own crack?
Yeah, at the same time, yeah, it could definitely be construed that way, although I don't know if I would have put it that way, but it does sound, it sounds reasonable to me. So look what they're doing. Look, it's their product. You're absolutely right. I love how you put this into perspective. People don't understand that. We are existing in a system where the Federal Reserve has the power to create one thing, and that is debt. And they're using that to leverage everything. They're buying it all by design. This is what they wanted to do. And we have here a president that is blatantly playing into it, blatantly selling out America. I voted for him because he said he would stop it. I voted for him. He said he was going to rein in the Fed. I got duped, man. That's the truth. I got duped here. But again, it was by default. Hillary was a liar. Who could vote? Who could have voted for her? But I'll tell you something. Who's benefited from this? Wall Street has. I said before anyone else that the stock market would skyrocket under President Trump. People were saying, oh, the market's going to crash. I was like, why would you think the market would crash under a guy here who's all for business? All he cares about is the rich. The middle class, pooh, he'll spit on you. That's what you are. You're dog shit to him. So, okay, it was a no-brainer. Stocks were going up. That's it. Biden, maybe cares a little bit more about the middle class, a little less about these corporations here. That's what it appears as, but sometimes things are not what they appear. I still believe that the corporate agenda here, because it's all about money, it's, maybe it's even worse than that. I've actually said this, and I don't know if this is true, but I wouldn't doubt it. When the president is elected, they have a lot of ideals, okay? And then they're sat down and they're told how it really works. They say, no. They show you the Kennedy assassination a few times. Maybe they threaten your family a few times. Going back to President Obama, that man had charisma. There's no doubt about it. I believed a lot of the stuff he was talking about during the campaign. And a lot, obviously, he was handed a pretty bad, an abysmal. There was economy in free fall at that particular time, almost like Biden will be handed an economy in free fall as well. And I think he did a lot. I think President Obama did things that he felt like he had to do with regard to get the economy back on track. And he did to a certain degree. There's no doubt about it. But, it just kind of topped out. And there was no getting out of the mess that was created, I think, for him. And we're seeing some of that right now, too. It never ended. The whole economic meltdown of 2008, we're really seeing a second wave of this here because all we did was add debt. We didn't fix anything. Nothing got really fixed. All we did was add more debt to the situation, and it's continuing today. And I just can't figure out a way they can stop it. I can't imagine that Biden will stop it. I think we're going to see parabolic debt under Biden. And then, hoping we're going to be able to grow out of it. I don't think so. I don't think there's not enough money on earth, derivatives and or otherwise. But it's designed that way. The system is designed to implode. They're going to implode the current system and put forth a new system. That's the only thing they can possibly do. It will not be commodity backed because that would take power away from the central banks. The central banks have started wars, continue to fight wars just to keep the system alive. The petrodollar is a good example of how that works. The fiat monetary system, it's crazy. But a new system has to be instituted in order for this whole thing to change. And unfortunately, transacting or transmission, what's the word I'm looking for? Transition, from one to another is going to be very volatile. And again, as the debt-based economic model, I think, evolves into something else, it's going to cause a lot of heartache for a lot of people. And we're seeing it now. We're seeing the current system die, really, is what we're seeing.
So with all of this going on, I'm positioned in gold. I'm positioned in silver. I have a few real estate investments. Someone asked me when I ever talk to you to ask them about copper, because some people say you can invest in copper. What is your position on that?
Copper is a good metal to invest in if you really believe that we're going to have some type of an economic boom. It's used in building, obviously, creating things, wire, and so I without a real economic boom, I don't think I would be I don't own any copper. Okay. I don't know I don't own any copper at all. I've thought about it, but in order for me to invest in copper, I would need to see real change in the economy. And we are so far from that. So I, at this particular point, would probably not want to hold copper. I think because it's ridiculously cheap right now, people should be holding silver.